3, 2, 1.
Down and got closure. I felt way about it after. I said, girl, you know we were only 20. I made you do that dirty. Get down back and get down on me. Down on me, hit that 1, 2, 3. Down on me, hit that down. Down, hit that down.
Welcome.
Yo. We in the building. Meets Dope.
Things are changing. We'll work it out. This is Nessa Rutazamba. I'm here with at Metamu, my co-host, and this is Meet Dope, our very first edition. Our very first. And for those of y'all who don't know Meet Dope, we are here letting you guys know the culture of Web3. So we are going to be doing not only interviews with dope artists, dope creators, we also are going to be giving you unique snips and juice from people who are doing different things in the financial sector on Web3, because we need to attack every angle that we can and master this game. So wow, this is our first one. We're gonna work out the whole way everything's looking here. We're gonna get it together, but just listen for now until we get the visuals. So right now I'm gonna slide it over to my co-host, Metamu, and he is going to introduce our guest, our highly esteemed guest.
Thank you, Nessa. Meets Dope. It's dope that you are doing this. First, I want to give you your flowers, you know what I mean? Because I know it's been a long journey for you, just getting to this spot right here, getting this all set up, getting your first artist, and following your dreams. Because I know we all been trying to find our way in Web3 and where we can make our mark. And I'm glad that you found yours. So without further ado, I want to introduce the man of the hour, Jadyn Violet, master of ceremonies. His Genesis Violet token sold out of 70 editions. Resurgence sold out 35 editions. He has some work that he's been doing with GlassXYZ. First ever token gated live performance, sold out 10 editions in 11 minutes. The man, the myth, the legend, a young man that is paving his way in Web3, a musician extraordinaire, underground Violet Rave in Brooklyn and Virginia, first artist token gated website. Myself, I was there in New York on the ground at the Violet Rave. It was jam-packed, popping. So this is an artist that y'all got to look out for, you know what I mean? Doing big things in Web3. Twitter spaces, always popping. You got people that are looking up to you. People that are following you, trying to create your success, try to recreate your success. It's just an inspiration to see, you know what I mean? And to a lot of us older heads, inspiration to see a young man like you just blazing a trail in this music industry, this Web3 space. So without further ado, I want to introduce my man's Jadyn Violet. Let's go.
Yo. Nah, I appreciate you guys endlessly for that amazing introduction. Probably like the best introduction I've ever experienced in my life. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully my voice is coming through clear and stuff, and it's not too loud, too small. But I appreciate, the shirt SM7B mic. You know what I'm saying? So nah, I appreciate I appreciate you, Nessa Metamu, for even having me on your first episode. That's truly an honor because I know you guys are working really hard behind the scenes. So I know this is already going to be a success in the future. And when people look back, it's really a pleasure, to be on the first ever episode and to have you guys, just chat it up with me and see all the cool things that I'm trying to do in the crazy Web3 space. So I appreciate you guys endlessly.
Respect. So before we get into Web3 and all of that, hoopty hoorah, like we want to do a little quick game. Sorry, I didn't hear you, Moo. Go ahead.
I was saying, like you said, people want to know, Jadyn Violet, who is the man, the myth, the legend, right? All the people want to know a little bit more about you. So we got this dope little game that we're going to be playing on our episodes called Meet Dope Hot Seat. It's going to be, came up with that on the spot. We'll work with that. But it's gonna be a couple questions, some either or. So we're just gonna run through them real quick, about 20 seconds.
Beautiful.
Run through them, and then you just give us your answer on the spot.
All right, beautiful. Yes,
you got to answer every question. So in order to win the game, you have to answer every question right. Okay.
There's not a right or wrong, but just you have to answer.
The right is the truth and not a lie. You ready? So I'm gonna put the timer on for 20 seconds.
I need some like tequila. Everyone I get it wrong, I gotta take a shot.
Right. Oh, we might integrate that into the future.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. You ready?
Let's get it.
All right.
So I'm gonna start the timer. 20 seconds. Hopefully we make it through all the questions. Moo, you ready? Let's go. Timer start.
I'm ready.
Now.
All right. Boxers or briefs?
Boxers.
Favorite color?
Violet.
Meat or veggie samosas?
Veggie samosas. I just had it for lunch.
Hey, Bollywood or cricket?
Ooh, Bollywood.
Froyo or ice cream?
Froyo.
Time's up. No, it's not.
Oh, that was it?
No, keep going.
Keep going? All right, let's do a couple more. Favorite cereal?
Keep going.
Damn. Fruit Loops.
A toaster strudel or Pop-Tarts?
None, but Pop-Tarts.
Tupac or Biggie?
Tupac.
Okay. Basketball or football?
Football. American football. Yeah.
Okay, football americano. Lil Uzi Vert or Jack Harlow?
Lil Uzi.
A Bitcoin or ETH?
ETH.
Nicki Minaj or Cardi B?
Nicki Minaj. Come on now.
Snoop Dogg or Kendrick Lamar?
Kendrick, yeah, for sure.
Okay. Boobs or butt?
Butt, of course.
That was a trick question.
And last one, if money were no object, where would you go and perform right now in the world?
Right now, Switzerland.
Switzerland, nice. All right, that's it for the warm-up round. You know what I
Damn,
mean?
that was fun. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now we really know your dark secrets.
Right.
All right, so now we want to get into your Web3 journey.
All right, so getting into Web3, Jadyn, when and how did you get started in Web3?
Yeah, so a big question, but I'm gonna try keeping it as short as possible so I don't take up the entire podcast. You know what I'm saying with this one thing. I guess, so my name is Jadyn Violet, and first and foremost, out of everything, I'm a musical artist. That's the thing that I want to do the most in my life, beyond all the other creative cool things that I feel like I could be involved in. But I've been making music for about 5 years as of right now, which is crazy to say because it's literally felt like 2 years or even 1 year. So just saying the number 5 out loud for the number of years I've been making music is literally absurd to me. But just trying to get my music heard in literally any medium that I could, whether it was through YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. I was there, just trying to get as many people to hear my music, hear my art as possible. But I never really fell into anything that was sustainable or that provided me longevity. I think that is the key to any musical artist trying to achieve what they want to achieve in their said career. And I was never able to do that. I had these spikes while I was creating music for all those years, whether it's a TikTok video blowing up or an Instagram video going crazy or someone using my sound and that getting a lot of traction. But yes, that, translated to a lot of streams for certain songs, but it never provided me an actual community And what do I mean by community? I mean sustainability, because I feel like, you know, two and two, I guess one and one go in hand together. So you know, I was really struggling. Instagram organic reach was declining, so I was not getting as much interaction on my post as I was getting, you know, prior, and it was really discouraging. And I feel like it was discouraging for a lot of artists after talking to a couple of people. And you know, I ended up discovering Web3, and I feel like it was a really, really crazy experience. But you know, long story short, I discovered it end of 2021. But like a lot of other things, you know, I feel like I've always had a problem with my career, which is being early to certain things, but never actually executing on my awareness of being early. It happened when Musically first turned into TikTok. I remember because my sister was always on Musically, always posting. And I remember when it first turned into TikTok, she was like, yo, check this out. I was like, what even is this? And I kind of just didn't execute, you know, but if I posted 5 times every single day back then, who knows what type of community I would have, you know, organically, you know, reached or created. Same thing happened with NFTs. I got, you know, first introduced to NFTs very, very early, about early 2020, late 2019. And I remember seeing it circulate on the headlines and stuff. And I'm like, this is going to be huge, just like I thought about with TikTok, but I didn't do anything about it. I remember seeing Bored Apes. I had the potential of minting a Bored Ape for myself for $800, but my bank was declining my transactions, and I was just getting frustrated. And I shut my laptop and I walked away. And I'm like, screw this, I'm gonna worry about NFTs later. And lo and behold, the cheapest one now is $250,000. So it's crazy, you know. But all that to say that I was early to these things, but I never executed on it. I never took time to actually research about what's actually happening. And then, you know, I got COVID end of 2021 during Christmas, second year in a row. And I'm just like, damn, I'm gonna be in my room for 10 days. Might as well finally actually do my 100 hours of research on what this NFT space is. And, you know, lo and behold, that's when I discovered music NFTs. The first thing I was exposed to was a song selling on sound.xyz, which is a music NFT platform, for $10,000 under 2 minutes. And I was like, this is absolutely insane. I mean, my highest streaming song is 100,000 streams because of a TikTok video that blew up. And that at the end of the day got me $250. So I would have to get close to 100,000 streams every week just to get $250 every week, which is less than minimum wage. And I saw this one record kind of blow everything out of the water just under 2 minutes. And I'm like, this is insane. But I feel like anything, money's never a viable answer to actually get you to commit to something. It was when I talked to artists and they were like, I've never gotten this much interaction in the space before or on my art before. And I'm like, that's exactly what I want. I want interaction on my art. And ever since that day, I think it was like December 28th or, you know, towards the end of December, I decided that I'm not going to make the same mistake. I realized that I'm early to music NFTs and I'm about to just go 100% in it. So like, you know, every day, every single hour I've been grinding, and it's been about 7-8 months. So yeah.
That's dope, man. That's hella dope because you're right. Like they keep saying in this space, and it's kind of cliche at this point, but we're still early. And you're in a space where you're in a Web3 jungle, blazing a trail through this jungle, man. And like I said earlier, it's inspiring to see, it's motivation because this is the next thing. You know what I mean? This is the next wave. So it's dope. All right, Nessa, you want to take it away?
Sure. So just going back to what you were speaking on and your experience on moving from Web 2, but even before we get into that, I want to just do a really, really quick blurb because a lot of people who are listening to this right now may not even know what Web 3 is. So I just want to like take a couple of minutes just to explain the difference between Web 2 and Web 3. So when the internet first came out, back then, that was like this revolutionary thing that was considered Web 1. So right now we're at a point where we are utilizing the internet on this different technology called blockchain. And I'm not going to get into like too deep because I don't want to lose everyone, but just know that Web 3, which is the third rendition of the first internet, right, is based upon utilizing the blockchain technology. So all of the transaction as Jadyn gets paid, he's getting paid via the blockchain. So instead of going to the bank, where the bank is this centralized place that keeps record of all of your transactions, like everything you do, now the blockchain has the internet component, and instead of the bank being the people who keep track of all of your transactions, there's people all over the globe who are, I'm not going to use the technical words, but let's just use the word verifiers of your transactions, and it's done with different types of crypto. So there's different types of crypto chains. We're not going to get into all of that, but just know that in order to be considered in Web3, you have to be doing transactions, meaning money. You're getting your money on the internet, on blockchain with crypto. That's ETH, that's Bitcoin. It's so many different types of coins. There's a difference between a coin and a token, but he's getting paid online, which means all of his transactions are verified on the blockchain, on the internet, and there's people that are getting paid to verify those transactions. Instead of the bank being the only one, the whole globe has to verify, like, hey, this is true. So now let's move back into how because you said that you got into Web3 in 2021 after, the bout with COVID. We all dealt with that, and you finally, a lot of us went through that exact same thing. Like, okay, I'm home now. Let's figure out how to understand this new technology. So who taught you the game? Was it self-taught? Because there had to be a support system. Because me, it was Twitter. Just tell us, who taught you the game? Who kind of moved you to that next step to get you really, 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 really deep diving into Web3?
It's actually crazy because there were two ways where I actually was exposed to music NFTs and Web3 that I was really just like, oh, this is interesting. The first thing was a TikTok video, and I believe it was by Daniel Allen, who is a pioneer in the music NFT space. And it was him explaining, how much money he made. Obviously, big numbers with money is attractive to a lot of viewers. So that's the first thing I saw. And I was like, this is very interesting. I didn't reach out to him, but that's what kind of stemmed my, curiosity. The second thing was actually a podcast, which is really cool that I'm doing this podcast now after being in this space for 8 months, because I really want to urge everyone that's listening to not, one, of course, miss out on this opportunity, because like Nessa was mentioning earlier, it's literally 1997, 1998 all over again before the internet stock boom. And the people who actually took advantage of being early, literally the mistake I've been making for all my years, are the ones who became pioneers, the ones who, became established in the future. And it was a podcast with, I forgot, whose podcast it was, but Alan Kingdom was the featured guest, who's also an amazing person, who's a pioneer in the Web3 music space. He actually just opened up the first crypto barbershop and spa using money he got from selling his NFTs. And, he was just talking about his journey. And that's the thing that also piqued my curiosity. So it was not a specific person that, taught me like, okay, this is this is that. And a lot of people, if they don't find that specific person, they kind of give up on the space because it gets too complicated for them. And don't get me wrong, it was very, very complicated in the beginning, like different coins, different blockchains, different this. Like, I'm just trying to make music. Like, what is going on here? You know what I'm saying? But I knew it was going to be worth it if I actually educated myself. So it's two places. It was Twitter, specifically Twitter Spaces. And for those who don't know what Twitter Spaces are, it's kind of like Clubhouse. It's like these chat rooms where there's a host, co-host, speakers, and then listeners, and you can join in. There's topics about everything, not just Web3. There's topics about NBA, like literally anything you're interested in, you can join a Twitter space on. And Twitter Spaces and Discord, those are literally the two places. And what I ended up doing is I was like, okay, I need to, before I even figure out about me releasing my first NFT, I need to get educated on what this entire ecosystem even is. So I started to join a lot of Twitter Spaces, like every single day, every single hour, listening to people. But it was not enough for me to just listen to people. And I was never really a note taker, not even school. So I never took notes, but like I was just processing everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, that's cool. That's cool. Look some things up by myself. Google's your best friend. But what really helped me is I started to reach out to people that I resonated with after I heard them. And I DM'd them and I said, do you want to hop on a quick 15-minute, 20-minute phone call? Basically, just to pick their brain, ask like the simple generic questions that I feel like everyone has. But I just wanted to really learn about their journey. What do they think about Web3? What do they think about music NFTs? What is the ETH blockchain? Something as simple as that are the questions I was asking a lot of these people. And I look back on my
alpha. That's big alpha. That's even life alpha. You know what I mean? Because I got a lot of young homies who are about to start getting into Web3, and obviously I'm gonna send them your way. But besides that, sometimes it just takes you reaching out and asking for a mentor. It takes you reaching out to people and saying, hey, what do you do and how did you do it? So it's amazing to see that you're already on that tip, you know, of like reaching out. Like you ain't gonna just sit back and watch a couple of videos and then be like, oh, I don't know where to go from here. So like that's a lesson for y'all who are listening. Like sometimes you got to reach out and just and pick people's brains. You got to get people's attention. So that's
No,
dope.
and Metamu, it's crazy that you say that because that's something I never did in the 5 years I've been making music. I never reached out to people and asked them for a 15-minute phone call. I never got on the phone with anyone unless it was like my friends and stuff, like anything that had to do with me networking, anything creatively, like meeting people online, never got on the phone with people until I entered Web3. And I'm like, yo, like this completely changed my perspective on how to network with people online. And it made me realize why nothing ever worked for me for the 4 or 5 years that I've been trying to build my network and my connections, you know? So, you know what I'm saying? So I started to talk to people like Luca, Maxime, Carla the Poet, people who are doing crazy things in the space still to this day. And like, they just gave me game, you know, I just asked them questions. I got on the phone with them and I immediately realized that there's a subconscious shift with people who are in the Web3 space. So yeah, this technology is really, really cool. And, you know, it's, you know, you can do so many things with it if you really look deep into it. But on a broader level, which I think is going to attract a lot more people to enter this space, is that people are way more receptive. People are way more kind. People are way more genuine. The narcissistic and egotistical behaviors that we feel in Web 2, whether it's on Instagram, TikTok, or whatever, like that hatred, that darkness is not there in Web 3 for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Of course, there's humans, so there's always going to be some people, but it's literally not there. People are very genuine. People are kind, and I feel like it has to do with us being early. So since it is early, you know, people are willing to answer these phone calls, and I just, you know, just talk to like so many people. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone.
Right.
So
That's
yeah.
one
That's a
thing I
good point
appreciate
that you
about
brought up, because what a lot of people kind of focus on is wanting things to be perfect and polished before they get into it. That's when you're too late. So now's the time, especially as artists, you're creative. So it's like, this is when you can literally use your skills and build, create anything your creative mind naturally wants to do. So you don't want it to art. That's like being a designer of a car and waiting for somebody else to build the car and say, hey, oh yeah, I'm gonna build that same car. No, if you are a creator and engineer, like artists are, you want to be able to build your own thing on this blank canvas. The only issue that a lot of artists, everyone is facing, same way like you just mentioned, is that whole business standpoint, like trying to figure out how to navigate, because you're your own business, you're your own brand now, and that's something you have to understand so you can outsource that. Like, what do I do to be able to focus on my craft and move myself forward as a brand, as a business? And most artists and creatives don't see themselves, or they don't want to, they try to shy away from that. But you don't have to, you can just outsource it and find people who specialize in that skill. And as you said, in this Web3 space, there's way more people that's receptive that you can get for a reasonable price to do your marketing, do whatever other thing that you may or may not be able to do yourself or don't want to do.
Right. Dope. All right, let's get into the next question. What was your first, actually, I think I want everybody to answer this. What was your first Web3 purchase? I think
Damn.
mine's real quick. When I first got into Web3, I was on a site called Mintable. But anyway, it was just a lot of art. And so when I first got into it, I was like focused on art, right? And I was trying to support artists. But my first purchase was a fake Elon Musk smokes on the Mars piece of art. But yeah, it's crazy journey. But go ahead, bro.
My first purchase, which sucks because I don't have it anymore because my wallet got hacked, and that's a whole other story. But it's this NFT that I really enjoyed, and I spent like a good amount of money on. And by good, I don't mean like a lot. It was like $350, but like to me, like that's still like, you know, a good amount of money and stuff. And I wanted to buy it as an investment just because like I wanted my first NFT to be something that I really liked and something that I could like view as like a timestamp, like this I believe in, and like, you know, it's an art piece, you know what I mean? So it was Women in Weapons. It was a project that basically depicted women in the 1920s during the war era, and it showed them basically holding different types of weapons. I thought the weapons were really cool. I thought the women looked fire and stuff, and it basically showed them kind of like being empowered, you know, because people are so used to the men holding the weapons and the guns and all that, especially during the war era. But this time it was kind of showing like the women are the real ones who have the power because they were holding the weapons and shit. So I had this cool ass, you know, this girl with platinum hair and like had like these crazy axes and stuff. So that was my first ever purchase. I'm gonna miss it forever, but I'm gonna buy it back, you know, in the
That's
future.
dope. That's dope. That's dope. Was it a PFP project or was it like a one artist?
It was a, yeah, it was a PFP project.
That's dope, bro. That's dope. What about you, Nessa?
I came in from like an investment angle. So my first purchase was not an NFT. My first Web3 purchase was crypto. And I'm kind of scared to say the name of who it was because afterward, I'm not gonna say who it was because it's not a reputable, it's not a coin, it's a token. And after I got into the space, I honestly, Twitter put me on game on how to identify. Shout out to OK Hotshots because like he's been a trailblazer in this space, giving people just security, knowing how to read like smart contracts, et cetera, et cetera. So after getting into the space, I knew it was a meme coin token, sorry, a meme token, and that it was pointless. At that time, like I came in like, oh man, we about to get rich off of this, but didn't happen. So yeah, I came in through crypto.
Sure, for sure. Well, yeah, you know, I you know, I think that is some of the stuff that is starting to change in the Web3 space, especially with NFTs. I think a lot of people came in like a gold rush, thinking that they was gonna flip and make a bunch of money because they were hearing all these stories of influencers making all the money. You know, come to find out a year later, a lot of that stuff was fake. A lot of that hype was fake. And so now I see a lot of real projects emerging, a lot of real artists emerging, like really kind of setting the new tone for how it is supposed to be in this space. So it's definitely a lot of hope and a lot of good things to come. What I've seen.
Okay, so let's shift. So we're gonna get to, I want you to dive into like the different Web3 tools and things that you use. But before we get into that, I do want, because you really gave some really good information earlier as far as your strategy and what you use, but like walk us through your typical Web3 workday. So these creatives can see like what it takes to sell out because you're doing it.
I can definitely walk you guys through like a typical workday, even though it's very like different every single day. But then I can also, I guess, if it would be helpful, walk through like the process of my first Genesis NFT, the Violet token, and I guess kind of like how that sold out, or like what my mind process was for it selling out too, because it was kind of an experiment to see if it would work, and it did, which was absolutely crazy. But for the typical workday thing, it's different every single day. I ended up quitting my like real life job to pursue music, pursue Web3 full time. It was not a crazy job. I worked at the hospital and I served food to patients and stuff. So it was like nothing crazy, but I was like,
He shared the video with the Violet holders in the Discord, so we got to see him like go and do that thing. Everybody was cheering him on, like that's what's up. Like, you know, follow your dreams. But that's dope.
yeah, it was part of my Violet token roadmap. I said if we hit the ultra goal, I'm putting in my 2 weeks to quit my job, and then we hit it. So then I took a video of me like telling her I'm putting in my 2 weeks, and like the whole conversation, and Metamu saw it and stuff because my guy's a Violet token holder. So yeah, I mean every day it feels like when you quit your 9 to 5 and you follow your passion, it feels like it goes from 9 to 5 to 24/7, and it feels like I'm literally working every single hour. And you know, my day is comprised of Twitter spaces, a lot of phone conversations. I feel like every week I talk to like, I would say probably up to upwards of 30 people, just like an hour-long conversation with different people from it, whether it's founders, whether it's art enthusiasts, collectors, other musicians asking for advice, people who are building platforms and tools, devs, like everyone. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just really crazy like how many people you meet in this world. And it's just, you know, taking up the whole day. I guess I start at 7 a.m. respond to my DMs for like an hour, 2 hours, then do my Twitter space. Then I get on a phone call. If I have another Twitter space scheduled, well, like if I get invited to one, I do that. Just different stuff. It changes up every single day. But I guess, would you guys like me to go into the Violet token thing, or you guys have saved that for later, or what's going on with that?
No. Go ahead. Keep
Yeah,
going.
That's dope. That's dope. Yeah, go ahead.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
I entered this space in, towards the end of December, like I mentioned before. Everyone, when they enter the Web3 space, the first thing they want to do, they want that $10,000. They want to sell out. I want to release my NFT. I want someone to buy it. I want money. You know what I'm trying to say? That's what everyone thinks. And right when I entered the space, everyone was telling me that you need to mint an NFT, mint meaning like, put an NFT for sale on the blockchain. Like you need to mint an NFT, you need to put something out. You need some sort of proof of sale or proof of history in order to be successful in the space. Everyone told me that, but I just didn't believe that. You know what I'm saying? I just thought that if I really cultivate and build my community, whatever that looks like for me, and then I release something after I built my community and provided value to them for a long period of time, I think that would be a better way to tackle the space and really, make an impact and stuff. Everyone was telling me that's not the way. Everyone in the space, they were like, that's not true, that's not true. And people have to keep in mind in this Web3 space, if someone says that this is not the way, you shouldn't trust them right from the beginning, because it's so new that literally anything could be the way, like
Anything
no
could be
one,
the way.
you know what I'm saying?
Nobody's
Like
an expert. We all been in about the same amount of time, so.
it's, no one's an expert. And even like the path I'm telling you right now, that's all it really was for me. It was a path that you could take, right? But it's never the way that, I would say is the definite thing to do in order to be successful in the space. But, it's an experiment. Since everyone was telling me, mint an NFT, mint an NFT, I was like, I'm not going to mint an NFT. You know what I'm saying? One, because I wanted to build my community before I sold something to anyone. And two, because I wanted to make sure that if I put something out on the blockchain, I wanted it to be innovative. I didn't want it to be what literally the person to my left and the person to my right were doing. Everyone's releasing music NFTs and they're saying, yeah, if you buy it, you get the stems, or if you buy it, you get, the MP3 emailed to you or something like that. And if I saw every single person doing that, I thought, how would it be special if I did the same thing? So, for the first 3 months of being in the space, I literally spent every single hour on Twitter spaces, getting on calls with people, on Discord channels. Discord's very big for Web3. And I was just seeing how I could provide value to people. Like, how could I help you? I literally asked every single person that. I never shilled myself once. Shill means like promote. It's like another slang term in Web3. So I never promoted myself one time, never, sent my music to anyone, any of that. I just provided value, whether that's helping someone host a Twitter space, mixing someone's song, making cover art for someone. I just did that for 3 months. And then when I felt like I finally built my community good enough, let me put my head down and let me do it for 1 more month just to put the cherry on top of the ice cream. And then I ended up releasing the Violet token, which were, 70 editions on April 5th. And it ended up selling out within like 2-3 days. And it literally, and like that blew my mind, because I've never made that much money on my music or my career ever. And it's like that $10,000 I saw sell out under 2 minutes. I made that dream my reality based on the blueprint that I laid out, and not, listening to what everyone is saying and telling me what to do. And I really think that's something like a blueprint a lot of artists could take. When you enter the space, don't think about just selling something right away, but think about actually building community, actually providing value to people without asking or expecting anything in return. And if you do that for an extended period of time, and then you finally release something, people are going to show up for you just off the fact that they enjoy you as a human being. And it's like that type of, what I'm saying? Like that type of love. Yeah, dude, it was never before seen in Web2. You know what I mean? Everyone was so, concerned about their own things, but like the way Web3 community is, it's like you show up for people, people will show up for you if you have true, genuine intentions. And like, I guess the Violet token just kind of showed that and like proved my theory correctly. So I just kind of rinsed and repeated that theory for the other NFT releases. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna say that for my little homie. Who I'm not gonna say your name, but you know who you are. You're gonna be watching this. I'm telling you, you don't just pop up in the space and think you're gonna release some stuff and people are gonna buy it. You build that community, and you're gonna hear that when you get into Web3. You're gonna hear that a lot. It's gonna get old and cliche, but there's a person right here who did it right. Jadyn Violet right here is doing it right, because you see the fruits of the labor months later, where you're having Twitter spaces where you never have less than 100 people in your spaces. You have all ages of people asking you for advice and coming to you and looking at you as an icon in this space. Well, I ain't gonna say icon. I don't want to pump your head up. You ain't an icon yet, but you know, you getting there. You know, you blazing the trail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People looking at you in your journey and saying, "Whoa, how do I do that?" Like of all ages, it's incredible. So I'm saying, like, you get into this space in Web3 and provide value and listen to people and ask advice and build yourself up. And like you said, it pays off. So.
Nah, and like a lot of people come into this space thinking that since they have 40,000 followers, since they have a verified check mark, that thing, you know, that is going to translate to sales. But honestly, if you were never in the Web3 community, you can come and release 100 editions and 0 people are going to buy it because people don't care. You know what I'm saying? It's like Chris Brown came into the NFT space, and after 3 weeks, a month of being, you know, after a month of his NFT collection being out, less than 10% sold. You know what I'm saying? After having millions of followers across all platforms, this man couldn't even sell 200 NFTs. And it's crazy. And it shows how much community actually means in the Web3 space. The reason Snoop Dogg is able to sell out NFT collections time and time again is because he's actually involved in the things that are happening in Web3. He actually joins Twitter spaces. He actually talks to people who are musicians in the Web3 space. So it's like,
right.
Yeah, it's
There's
crazy.
that other piece too, right? Because you have to onboard people too. It's not just about people just getting in and swiping their credit card and buying something from you. No, there's all this education to be had that you do. There's security stuff that people run into and experience. There's the part that most of this stuff is on cryptocurrency and where a niche community of a niche community, you know what I mean? So in order to get into the NFTs, you got to go through crypto first. And a lot of people don't even know crypto. So all of that goes into this building it. And like you're saying, there's a lot of Web2 companies coming in, jumping in, thinking because they have big followings in IRL that they're going to get the same response here. And it's just not the case. So yeah, man, hat goes off to you for doing it the way you felt was right. And it is paying off.
Good stuff. Yeah. I think one thing that we're missing that we maybe didn't say is what is the point of all of this as a creator? Like, why should I not go to the record label and let them, you know, do everything? Like, because everything you mentioned, even though from the outside, it might sound like, okay, man, this is a headache trying to do everything on my own. But I wanted to drive this in everyone's head. The biggest difference is in Web3 versus Web2. If you are knowledgeable and understand what you're getting into, as a creator, as an artist, you will maintain your ownership if you are paying attention to your smart contract. That's the whole reason, like Jadyn, everything you said, you started off on social media, trying to get sales on social media. So $100,000, $250 a week versus being able to sell out a only 70 collection. Listen to that. He didn't have to get 100 million trillion spins on Spotify. I always say that to people. Whatever, however you say it, I don't care. It ain't my company. But 70, you were able to sell 70, like one collection, because people are not understanding this. If you're putting out one music NFT and you're only selling 70 of this, that's like having 70 pieces of a shirt, right? This green shirt, I'm only going to sell 70 of. As a music artist, I'm only going to sell 70. That means only 70 people in this world can say that they own that song with you. So they get a portion of resales, but you get most, depending upon whatever you write for your own contract. So record labels, they own your royalties, they own everything. So now moving into this Web3 space, creators, creatives, artists, you're at a point where you can demand what you want for your artistry. You can put it out, sell it for what you want. And when it's sold again and again and again and again and again, not only do you eat, your kids eat, your family eats forever, as long as you have that wallet and you know what you put the details into your smart contract. So we'll pivot there, but I wanted to say that, Jadyn, if there's anything you want to add to that, please feel free.
I'll kind of reframe it like as a you're 21, right? You just turned 22?
I just turned 21. Yeah.
Okay, just turned 21. So I got homies that's your age right now thinking about getting there. They have their music. They got all types of, music ready, recorded. They're like, okay, what path do I take? I'm telling them, let's go with NFTs, man. They're like, why would I do that? Nobody in the hood, nobody on the streets is in NFTs. Why would I do that? I don't know how to do that. So what advice could you give to them?
Yeah, and it's really crazy, right? Because like these conversations are super, super important. And what Web3 is doing, what NFTs are doing, are solving the finance aspect of what musicians have been struggling with for so many years. Musicians always have to lean on the shoulders of someone else, and everything is about leverage. So people say, why not just go towards the record labels? Why not do this? Back in the day, and this is before I was alive, so I don't even know that much, but it's like people were out on the streets selling their CDs because that's the only way that they can make people aware of their music. You know what I'm saying? How else are you going to get people educated or aware of your sound, of the music you're putting out? It's to actually go out on the streets and, give your CDs to people. That's why people needed record labels, because record labels could massively produce things and get things out and make multiple people aware of your music. The internet came along early 2000s and it solved that. Now artists could go on the internet, go on blog posts and publish, and put their music out for the world to hear. Yet it's still not reaching the right people. Everyone still wanted to get on MTV in the 2000s, which is why people were still leaning on record labels, because record labels still had leverage, because now they can get these artists and put them on MTV. They wanted to be Michael Jackson's new music video that was dropping on MTV that everyone was waiting, like a whole hour for in front of their TV screens and stuff, right? But still, there was still a problem. Even with the internet coming out, there was still a problem because these record labels still had leverage. Then TikTok came out. Now you see so many musicians blowing up on TikTok. So now it solved the awareness problem. It solved the reach problem, right? As you see, the internet keeps, evolving, because it's always going to keep evolving. Yet there's still a problem, right? Because now TikTok is cool. Now you see so many artists blowing up. You can post a video, it can get 1 million views the next day. It's crazy. But now the finance aspect is still an issue. We solved awareness, we solved reach, but the finance is still an issue, because yes, you can get, 100,000 streams because of a TikTok video that blew up, like it happened to me. But at the end of the day, that's still giving you $250. Like, that's not enough to live. That's not enough to sustain. So now that the finance is still an issue, that's where NFTs come into play. So people say, why do NFTs? Why do this and that? My first NFT collection, 70 edition, sold out, and it grossed $10,000. Without even putting that song on Spotify, Apple Music, anything, that is equivalent to 700,000 streams without even putting it on Spotify and Apple Music. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, I have 70 unique holders that I can provide utility to. Oh, I'm releasing merch. Since you guys are my holders, you get 50% off my merch. This shit was not possible before. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's really crazy. So hopefully, yeah, that helped.
Oh, that helps a lot. That helps a lot.
If that don't break it into perspective, nothing else will, right?
That's it right there, man. That's it.
Okay, so next, let's move on to like what you use in Web3. You like tools, because a lot of people like, okay, I know about it, but like, what do I need to use to be in Web3? So just let us know like what you use. I guess maybe start with what you started to, maybe lessons learned, or however you want to like break it down. But just let us know.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because I feel like, with anything new, there's always new tools that are developing every single day. So what I was using 8 months ago is nowhere near to what I'm using now, because it's like new things are coming out to make it easier for us every single day. So in the beginning, I remember everyone's talking about smart contracts, and like smart contract is what you need in order to put your NFT on the blockchain. It lives on a smart contract, right? So I needed a developer for that. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, you can go on marketplaces and stuff and you can post something. For example, OpenSea is probably like the eBay of NFTs or Web3. You know, anyone, you sitting there right now in your house, you can take a picture of your wall, you can post it on OpenSea after connecting your, you know, MetaMask or, you know, your crypto wallet, and you can put it for sale. You know what I'm saying? Anyone can do that. But what happens is when you post on marketplaces, right? And there's tons of marketplaces, you know, for example, if we're talking about music, there's Mint Songs, there's Catalog, there's Sound XYZ, there's, you know, all these different places. They own your smart contract. You know what I'm saying? And this goes back to this idea of leverage and how we should always have leverage over other people, because we don't want to make the same mistake of record labels having leverage over us all over again in Web3. So I wanted to make sure for my first NFT that I'm putting out, I own the smart contract. I know nothing about coding. Very confusing to me. I know 0 lines of code. So I knew I needed a developer for Web3, for my NFT. You know what I'm saying? So I reached out to a couple of people. What's really cool about Web3 is how the payment system works. You know what I'm saying? So you know, a lot of people who are listening don't have money to pay for a dev. I didn't have money to pay for a developer when I was starting off. You know what I'm saying? A lot of developers are like, I need $1,000 to write your smart contract. I don't have that. But what's cool about Web3 is, you know, you can build a relationship with someone. And then I built a relationship with my boy Nico from Argentina. And like, you know, he was down to, you know, he was actually also at the Brooklyn Underground Violet Rave. And I told him, I was like, dude, I have this project idea. I want to do it. I don't have money to pay you up front. But what if I can give you 10% of the total sales in the back end after the project is done? And it's cool because now he can write that in the smart contract, so that every time an NFT is sold, 10% of that sale automatically goes to him. So now, you know, a lot of, you know, rappers, musicians, they, you know, they need a lot of things. You know, they need someone to build their cover art. They need someone to make this video. They need a developer for the smart contract. They need, you know, someone for their marketing. Because of smart contract capabilities, you can now allocate percentages. So you don't need money on the front end. The reason a lot of people go to record labels is because they need that money up front, because they don't have the money up front. But the blockchain is so powerful because now you can allocate percentages and give people money on the back end for their work that you need. So basically, you know what I'm saying? I told Nico, I'll give you 10% of the total sales. He did all the dev work for me. He implemented it onto my website so people could buy it. It worked. And then automatically 10% went to him. And real quick, something that I didn't touch on before, the Violet token, it sold out 70 editions. It did those sales. But what wasn't possible before in Web2, every time someone resells your NFT, you get 10% of it back to you forever. You know what I'm saying?
Royalties.
It's insane, right? So I actually got one of my boys to buy the Violet token. I sold it for around $180. I was like, yo, you know, buy, this is my first ever NFT if you want to buy it. And he's like, you know, thankfully, I'm so grateful that he supported. He ended up reselling it for $1,100. So I ended up getting $150 into my wallet that I can put into my bank account off of just him reselling my NFT. You know what I'm trying to say?
So I want to make sure everybody gets that. So that's a really big key thing here, Web3. Not only does the artist get money from all sales, but as a unique owner of it, you can resell it as the fan, as the customer, and get money from being a unique owner, one of those 70 people. That could be, if you hold it forever, you never know. It could be millions, you never know what it could be. I'm not putting a dollar amount on it.
I like to say, with all the artists I support, I'm here before y'all got famous. So when they get
so you either here for the art,
Violet's so famous,
I'm
gonna be like, I have a Violet token from when he first started. So booyah.
Yeah, the real fans will hold it. The real fans will hold it. But for those who don't want to, like, they're like, okay, well, what's the point? Why should I buy this? Some people think, like, why should I buy this for this amount when I can just listen to it on Spotify? You actually are part of the ownership, and you can resell it like a stamp collector. Like back in the days, people used to collect stamps or collect comics or collect whatever, because everybody don't do comics these days, but there is value in that ownership. So sorry to cut you off, Jadyn. Carry on, please.
Oh no, that was it. But no, you summed it up absolutely perfectly. It's very, very important.
Right. And so and you get those royalties in perpetuity forever. As long as this technology is here and as long as that contract is solid, Like you're getting that every single time one of your NFT sells, you're getting a piece of those royalties. So that's passive income for artists right there.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what tools are you using now? Because I know the old, they change. You touched on that. What are you using now? And what do you suggest for creators or artists coming into the space now? I know you're coming from the music perspective, but you do a lot, making your own covers, even directing and making your videos. Like the artistry is there. I can see it, like even how, like the whole thought process and the storyline of the video. So what tools are you using for those that are Web3 specific?
When it comes to the creation of art, I wouldn't say that I'm using any Web3 tools that help me for the creation of art. What really is helpful for Web3 when it comes to art creation is the network you're able to achieve, because there's so many people, there's so many creatives. You're able to connect with so many people. You're able to connect with a videographer, a graphic designer, an artist, you know, a cool producer, and like it's very easy. So that definitely is a big benefiting factor to my music and my art. So Web3 helped with that. But when it comes to the tools I'm using right now to create cool stuff and innovative things in Web3, I'm definitely using, I have developers that I've like built relationships with. So definitely build relationships with developers, because they're the most important people in this space once you enter. Very underrated. And now we're just working together to like just build cool stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like we just created a token gated website. So on my website, only people who hold my NFTs can get access to an exclusive page that has unreleased music and cool things like that. But honestly, it's up in the air. Like anything we just think of, we're like, all right, let's try this out. You know what I'm trying to say? Let's see how that goes. But for anyone entering the space, Manifold is a really, really good tool. And basically what Manifold is, it's very simple. If you just go and you can watch their tutorial, it walks you through it. It allows you to make your own smart contract for your own NFT. So you can, you can have ownership over your smart contract without knowing any code. Very, very simple. Once you walk through it, it just takes like an hour out of your day, and you can really go through the steps, and then you can make your own smart contract. So Manifold is really cool. Zora Creator Toolkit is really, really dope for creating your own NFTs. It gives you a bunch of options. It gives you smart contract templates, anything that you want to use to release your own NFT, you can do that. And then of course there are these platforms. If you release on a platform, it's very easy to release your own music NFT. You just upload your song, upload your cover art, and then press mint, and it mints it on the blockchain for you on that platform. So yeah.
Dope, dope. All right. Let me see where we at now. Where do we want to go, Nessa? We got
Let's
into the
go
nitty-gritty,
to
the
his
tools.
funding. Like, how is
Hey,
he getting
hey.
to the bag? Just dive
Right.
into there
Some
quick.
people think it's magic. And just like in Web2 or IRL, there's certain networking that you have to do. There's certain funding that you need to make things happen. Events don't just happen magically. Your Discord concerts don't happen magically. So if you're willing to share, like, how do some of these behind the scenes things go? How do you get funded for events? Like, how does that process go?
So what I realized about Web3 is that there's a shit ton of money in this space. Honestly, there's probably more money than in this space than there is in Web2. But in a general standpoint, say it's the same amount of money that's in Web2, it's in Web3. The only difference is that the money is finally going to the creators. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to a bunch of middlemen that are chipping off little funds here and there. It's actually going to the creators, and it's really, really cool to see. People are really just giving away money at this point. A lot of people are, the general meta of the space that's happening right now is there's a lot of people giving grants. So if you're, doing some cool stuff, you can always apply to grants. I never applied to any grants just because it's so much work, like such a long application form and stuff. But when it comes to, funding, a lot of times NFT collections can serve as funding if they have a good story. So, for example, the Violet token, I feel like one of the reasons that it's sold out and I was able to get that money and use some of that money to fund the Violet Rave in Brooklyn was because I included it in the story. NFT projects have a roadmap, meaning that if my project sells out, the first step in my can you guys hear me? Did I
You're
cut out?
breaking up a little bit. Hold on.
It
Turn
broke
your
up, but you're back
Test
now.
one, test two.
You're good
Okay.
now.
Yeah, it says my internet connection is unstable. I'm good now.
Yeah, you're good. I can hear you now.
All right, beautiful. Let me
So from
know
your
if it
roadmap,
cuts out again.
hold up. Did you cut out again?
Oh, Oh, no, no, no. Okay, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Oh,
All
okay, okay, okay. There you
right.
go.
You guys just seem frozen, so I was like, damn, it cut out again. But in my roadmap, I put that, if we hit the super goal, which was 40 tokens sold, it's gonna lead to the creation of the underground Violet Rave. And because I've been providing value to people for 4 months before my drop, because I've been sharing my story for 4 months before the drop, people just resonated with it. And they're like, damn, I want to see this vision come to life. So I'm going to buy a Violet token, not only to support him, not only to get the utilities that he'll provide, but also to have this vision and story actually come to life. And I've seen that time and time again with Web3. So you can self-fund your own projects, and it doesn't even have to do with music. Like, I never thought I can throw a rave. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the craziest thing ever. But I'm like, fuck it. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, you can literally do anything if you wanna, like, I don't know, like anything you can think of, you can cater your NFT collection towards that with a good story, and a good community behind it. So I was able to use a lot of my funding for my own NFT collections to make the raves happen. But beyond that, what I realize is that why use my own money when I can use other people's, especially if you can equally exchange value. So what I ended up doing after learning from the first Brooklyn rave for the Virginia rave, I ended up getting Web3 sponsorships. And before, I never really knew how sponsorships work. I'm like, okay, I guess I can go to the local bakery and ask them if they're willing to sponsor for a page in my talent show or something. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff that we used to do like in middle school and high school. But this is some like next level thing where it's like, listen, I can go to a Web3 company that's building tools or something cool, and I can be like, yo, I really like what you're doing. I'm holding an IRL event. It can serve as an opportunity to you because you can get your name more out there. All I really need is some money to cover, the performance costs or lighting and stuff. And just like that, for the UVR in Virginia, UVR meaning Underground Violet Rave, but for the UVR in Virginia, I was able to acquire $2,500 in sponsorships just to throw the event. So I basically got to platform artist, put the Underground Violet name brand on it, come to Virginia, get lit, vibe with everyone for free. You know what I'm trying to say? And I got to pay artists and DJs in the process of that. So it's like, if you have a dope vision, if you have a dope story, Web3 companies, there's endless amounts, the amount of people that are starting up, that are thousands and thousands and thousands, and they're willing to give people money if it's a good story, good vision. You know what I mean?
That's dope. That's good to hear, man. That's good to hear because things don't happen by magic. And there's some artists in the space that make it seem like it's magic, but I know it's work to go out and make that networking happen and talk to people, which, like you said, sometimes it ain't that hard. You just get out there and talk to people. There's money in this space for everybody.
I have a question about those sponsorships because, move, we ran into some things. So how did you navigate those sponsorships? Because from what I'm seeing, it seems like as an individual artist, it seems to be easier to come into Web3 and get some of the sponsorships. But as organizations, because me and Moo, we've been a part of a lot of different organizations doing events in Web3. And from the organizational standpoint, a lot, and I'm not about to blast anyone yet, but a lot of these Web3 protocols, these different groups that are coming, they will say that they will be like sponsors for our group event as an organization, not as an individual artist, right? But as an organization where we're trying to do impactful things for the community. And then, we would give our deck. They would take the deck, like, oh yeah, we're going to sponsor you. Next thing you know, they're doing an event that's just like our deck and refuse to pay us when it's like a few weeks before the event. So how have you navigated? Was it more of they are coming to you? Did you partner up with other social media people? Did you ask them? How did that work?
So, before anything, I always bring it back to community and building your own community, because everything is leverage in the space, right? So if I were to come as an artist who has no experience in Web3, no notable, things that I've done. So they can't really look at me like someone who's making movements in the space, no community built. They're going to look at me like, all right, we're not going to there's no reason for us to sponsor you. You know what I'm saying? So you need leverage when you're having conversations with a lot of these platforms that are doing things in Web3. So immediately I knew, and this, like, I guess like you just have to deploy self-awareness to what do you have leverage on them for, with. So for me, I knew that building my community was going to be my leverage. Every single platform wants more exposure. I knew that my community could provide that. So I started to approach these platforms with my community and said, look, you guys need more people to be aware of what you're doing. I'm throwing an IRL event. I can put your name on this IRL event so more people who are coming into this space, one, uses your tools, and you guys gain exposure for what you're doing. If you guys don't want to sponsor, it's fine. I'm gonna go to the next platform who's literally competing with you guys, and they're gonna sponsor because this is an amazing opportunity. And right then and there, they're like, oh nah, like this is amazing. We'll definitely give you guys $500. Is that fine? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yep, that's perfect. You guys gotta, it's kind of like a vulture game that you have to play with them, but it's definitely a result of me learning from my mistakes, because exactly what you said happened to me for the Brooklyn Rave. So for the Brooklyn Rave, and that's why I resonated so much with what you were saying, Nessa, I was, me and my guy Muda, we were sending decks to so many people, and everyone was like, yeah, we'll sponsor you, and then last, 2 days before, pulled out. They're like, no, we never heard from them ever again. And it was very frustrating, right? Because we're like, how are other people getting sponsors for these events and stuff? And I'm over here having to pay everything out of pocket for my first ever rave. You know what I'm saying? And it was a struggle because people said yes, and then they flaked, and we ended up getting 0 sponsorships for the one in Brooklyn. But the one in Virginia, I realized, okay, I need to learn from my mistakes, and I need to change my approach, and I need to kind of be like a vulture to these people, because you know what I mean? If they're vultures, like, I got to play their own game. So that's how I kind of changed my approach. And I was like, one, let me actually get them involved so they feel like it's worth sponsoring. You know what I'm saying? Like, I literally just asked them, what can you guys find value out of a live event? Like, I literally just asked them straight up, and they literally said it. And then I was like, oh, we can implement this in this event I'm throwing in Virginia a month from now. Are you guys down? You know what I'm saying? So that helped a lot, because before I wasn't really asking people, and I was just saying that, yeah, we'll put your logo on the flyer. But at the end of the day, that's not that helpful to a lot of these companies for them to spend that much money. You know what I'm saying? So that was one aspect of it. The second thing was definitely not to reach out to these big companies. Everyone, who wants sponsorships, they reach out to MetaMask, Zora, which are big, Web3 platforms and stuff, and expect them to give them attention. But I started to reach out to platforms that had 200 followers, 300 followers, because these are the people that desperately need awareness, and I'm able to provide that. You know what I'm saying? It's an equal exchange. So they give me money, I'm able to boost their platform a little. It's a win-win, so definitely go to these smaller platforms and see how they could integrate with whatever you're doing.
Dope.
That's actually very genius.
Right.
I mean, like,
that's an alpha I ain't even heard, and I'll be in Twitter spaces all the time.
Right. Right. Like, oh my gosh, that's
we might need to make this interview token gated. No, it's like,
for real.
a little bit too much goodness up here. But
That's hilarious.
All right, let's go ahead and transition. I think we're in our kind of our last little pieces. We're talking about like Web3 sustainability, right? So we're just wondering, like, how are you going to keep this economy sustainable? Like, how are you reinvesting returns? Do you have vehicles where you put your money? Are you using it solely for, just day-to-day operations? Or like, will you have to continue to drop projects? Is that how do you tap into sustainability as an artist? So
see, and I feel like this is the golden question, because I can't even answer it fully, like a definite answer, because I feel like once you figure out sustainability, like I was mentioning before, I was never able to achieve that in Web 2. Once you achieve sustainability, it's like you won. You know what I'm saying? That's it, because that's everything. How do you get audience retention? How do you get people to keep coming back, keep supporting you and stuff? And it's very interesting, because I feel like it's a dilemma that's happening in this space right now. A lot of these platforms are hitting me up and saying, yo, why haven't you dropped again? You need to drop, another NFT collection and stuff. But it's like, if you drop 20 editions every single month, if you drop a new project every single month, after the first one, people will support you. After the second one, people may support you. After the third one, there's another factor of market fatigue that no one is talking about in the space that comes into play. Your collectors, your community, your audience are going to be like, this guy just released 2 collections. Now he's releasing a third one. And it's like, there's nothing really different with this one. Like, this man's just getting our money. You know what I'm trying to say? Every single month, it's not sustainable at all. which is kind of why I'm trying to figure things out right now. You know, something that could lead towards sustainability, because I just went on a dropping spree. I dropped on 3 platforms, Glass.XYZ, Sound XYZ, and Mint Songs the last month, and they did good. You know what I'm saying? And they sold out, and it was beautiful. And I know that I guess I can drop another NFT collection this month, but it's like, will it actually sell out? It may, but then is that going to lead to sustainability in the future? Because obviously, you know, $2,000 every single month is still not enough to actually sustain a living in most places. You know what I'm saying? Or very, you know, slight living. So at the end of the day, and I mention this all the time, so it probably gets annoying, but community is the most sustainable thing that you can tangibly achieve in anything. You know what I mean? Once you have a community, I don't even like to use the word monetize, because I would never say use your community to monetize, but now you have something that you can steer in different directions. You know, without a community, there is no sustainability because you have no people. So now, instead of really paying attention to what NFT collection I can release that could achieve sustainability, I'm trying to say, how could I sustain my community? Because that's going to be the most important thing, because that's the main thing that I don't want to, that I don't want to lose. Like, that's everything right there. If you lose your community, you have no one to buy your NFTs, you have no one to support your music, no one to show up to your Twitter spaces, any of that. So there's small things that I'm doing to make sure that I achieve that. One thing is having something scheduled, whether that's a Twitter space, whether that's a Discord meetup, whether that's a Twitch stream. You know what I'm saying? Anything, have something scheduled that the people that you're making connections with and relationships in the space, they can always come back to, or they know that, look, Jadyn Violet is going to be at this location at this time during this day every single week. And that's what I started to do with Twitter Spaces. I grew my community by hosting Twitter Spaces, but I never had a set time. So I just started to have every single weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern, I hold my Twitter Space, and that's where my community could come together every single day. And that's where that audience retention comes into play. And I ended up implementing this thing called brainstorming sessions in my Discord every single Tuesday. People can come together. If you have any questions, anything you want to brainstorm on, you're welcome. And then we just, you know, chat it up and see how we can help other people. So yeah, anyone building in this space, definitely, if you want sustainability, longevity, just foster that community and see how you can be of value to them, is what I would say to that.
So with that community, and with, like, you have sold out, you're using a lot of different tools to throughout this process. One thing with Web2, you can use, you know, like kind of Google Analytics to kind of capture your data and your flow, like your traffic of customers from you and your experience. And I know things are evolving slowly, not even slow, quickly on Web3. What are, aside from like just going to doing analytics and seeing like the whole general NFT data, what data points, how are you analyzing your customer data, figuring out what are they navigating to most, like what are the data points for you to use in Web3, I guess?
See, that is, you know, that is such a beautiful question. Because these are the tools that are being developed right now because it wasn't available before. You know what I'm saying? A lot of artists are in the space, and because this is all so new, right? They're like, okay, we have all these collectors now. How can we know what communities these collectors are from? How much ETH are in their wallet? What's the average ETH in all my collectors' wallet? Like, how do I get this data? And there's literally no way to get this data as of right now until these companies are starting to form. So I'm pulling up my phone right now just to get the name. And there's this company called Bello Sites by this legend named Levy Chain, who's in the space. He actually does podcasts as well. And he's been doing crazy things for a long, long time, for years in the, you know, crypto ecosystem. But he just released this thing called Bello Sites, which explains exactly what you just said. Artists can basically enter their NFT collections, and they can basically get data based on their collectors and, you know, where their collectors are, where these wallet addresses are. Reveal is also another really, really cool tool that basically allows you to input your NFT collections, and it tells you the market cap. It tells you like the averages of a bunch of things. It tells you all the wallet addresses and what communities they're a part of. So those two are the only things that I've seen, and they're very, very new. Like, you know, they just came out. Bello Sites is actually not even out. I'm pretty sure it comes out within the next couple of weeks. Reveal just came out a month ago. It's like, since we're in a bear market right now, that's when all these tools are actually coming out. So it's really cool that you mentioned that about insights, because that's something everyone in this space literally needs, you know what I'm saying? And that's what's happening, these platforms are starting to develop that. So I haven't used any yet, just because they're just getting made right now, but I actually have a call with Bello on Friday to talk about literally that. So it's going to be interesting to see how that can help us.
They better hook you up too.
Nah, for
They
sure,
better
man.
hook you up, talking about sponsoring. But anyway.
Facts.
All right, let's get to the good stuff. So we're gonna close out now. Make sure we get your socials, but we need to know because I know you got something special for everyone that's listening. So give us your socials and then run down that nice special offer that you have for our listeners, please.
Hell yeah. So my socials, very simple. It's just Jadyn Violet, literally anywhere. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people spell Jadyn wrong. I spell Jadyn like the way it is, just because, it's whatever. But Jadyn, and then Violet, just like the colors. So Twitter is where I'm mostly active for my Web3 stuff, but Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Music. If you want to listen to my music, that would be literally beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And the Underground Violet Rave is the community that I am cultivating. But if you go to my, Jadyn Violet, any social media, you can click my link tree and it'll give you all the links to like literally everything. So the cool thing that I'm offering that I definitely am excited about is I've been seeing an increase in cohorts in the space. And what I mean by that is it's like programs that basically take artists in, and basically it's like an incubator. It helps them, enter the Web3 space, enter the music NFT space, whatever they're interested in. And that's either by, giving them consultation calls, having weekly calls, it's connecting them with people that are important in the space that they need to be connected with, whether that's tools, whether that's marketers, whether that's developers, all of that. So I kind of always wanted to do my own cohort program and take one person in and literally develop them from the very beginning, so they can also have a 70 edition NFT sellout, and they can get the bag, and they can meet new people and build their own communities in the space. And I've been wanting to do this. So I appreciate you, Nessa, for allowing me to kind of introduce this on this podcast right now. But yeah, one lucky person, you know what I'm saying, who's listening, I guess, I'm not sure how we want to do it, whether it's a raffle or whatever the case may be, can get picked to basically be a part of my incubator program, where I'm willing to, like, everything for free, take you in, teach you anything you want about the NFT space, get your first NFT up and running, get your community going. I'll pay for the contract, the gas prices, all of that, and yeah, get you started in this space. So it's lit.
That is dope.
Right.
Pilot in the building, doing big things. Now a mentor, Trailblazer, now a mentor in the space. You know what I mean? So you out here, man. You out here.
All right, give us your socials too, Moo. We're going to close out. We're going to give all the socials so everybody know how to find. And also, Jadyn, we will be posting links on our website to everything you're offering. And that's everybody who comes on for an interview. We'll make sure that the love is shared. So meetdope.com. And go ahead, drop your socials.
Yeah, for sure. Metamoo in the building at Savage Uchiha on Twitter. Metamoo on Instagram and TikTok as well. PDX Slide is my interview platform, so I'm sure we're going to be collaborating with Meet Dope in the future. And yeah, that's it.
And I am also the co-host, Nessa Rutazamba. Nessa Rutazamba. I'm going to spell it out for you. Rutazamba. And I am here on behalf of Meet Dope. You can find Meet Dope on Twitter, meetdope.com, and everything will be linked from meetdope.com to everyone here. So thank you, everyone. Jadyn, thank you for your gifts and your time. Metamoo, thank you for just being you. And any closing remarks or advice from anyone, if there's anything y'all want to say?
No, just thank you. You know what I'm saying? Thank you. It's an honor to be a part of the first episode we lit. You know what I'm saying? But
this is
yeah, shout out, y'all.
Meet Dope. This is up.
Number one. You go down in the record forever as number one. Nobody else.
Hell yeah.
This was great. I enjoyed this, guys. I think it was really good information for the community. So that's the whole point of doing this. This is Meet Dope Web3. We'll be providing more and more artists and specialists in Web3, because if everybody in Web2 is not understanding and knowledgeable about what's going on in Web3, then it's going to be the same cycle of people in Web3 doing the same thing. So we need to bring the family in. Ignore that dog in the background. That's
Right,
my
bring the family in,
Bring
break
the
the
family in.
cycle, get these young
Yeah.
people, they own brands, making their money, being in control of their own destiny. So